Hi everybody, welcome to Con Todo de Todo by HSI Excellence. We landed on the name Con Todo de Todo because we are putting our all into this podcast and we want to talk about de todo. So everything that is relevant to you is relevant to us and it's what we want to highlight. So yeah, Con Todo de Todo.
Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Alyssa McKenney and I serve the HSI Excellence Program as a West Valley Regional Coordinator. Together, along with many other teammates whom you will get to meet shortly, we serve students at Glendale, Estrella, Mesa Community College, Phoenix, South Mountain, and Gateway.
Hello everyone, I'm Alejandra Obregon and I am one of the success coaches with the HSI Excellence Program.
So we're here today to kick off this exciting new podcast series. This first episode is really focused on context, so allowing you to get to know us better, why we're here, who we are as a program, and what our visions and goals are for students enrolled at Maricopa Community Colleges. So Alejandra, I'd like to ask you first. You've been with the program for a long time, going on 5 years. Mm-hmm. Tell me, what is HSI Excellence to you through your eyes?
As a success coach, I see HSI Excellence being a program that bridges the gap between students and their resources on campuses, on their campuses, as well as bridging a gap for not only them as students, but their families as well, giving them the knowledge of what it is to have a student at the community college, having them also be aware of the process as a student. So then not only we build a support system within the campuses, mm-hmm. but also a stronger support system within their homes.
Outstanding. My perspective of HSI Excellence is truly at its core. Our goals are very straightforward. Your success matters to us, and what we want to see more than anything is for you to enter in at any of our campus locations, evolve, seek out opportunities, discover doors that will open if you just knock on them, and that's really why we're here, is to guide you in making those decisions and seeking out opportunities that might not always be visible from a website. So we're here for that. And my favorite part about the HSI Excellence Program overall is tied a lot to its history and its origin. So we'll hear more about the origin story from other teammates, but that's really who we are, and that's our purpose here in this institution in Maricopa, is to inspire you to reach further than you thought was possible.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm a first-generation adult reentry student, so I began college with 2 children in diapers, which is not a very traditional way to start your education, but in my journey, I found the community college to be the best decision I ever made for myself and for my family. Not just because of the education and the opportunities, but because of the community and the network and the support system that I established while I was there. In a lot of ways, I can relate to first-generation college students feeling alienated, isolated, kind of alone with your challenges or misunderstandings of what college is meant to be. So I hope that in this program, those strengths that we bring to the table, you accept them as experiences that we have actually gone through ourselves as students, as products of Maricopa Community Colleges.
Yes. I am a first-generation college student. I started at Estrella Mountain, and then I worked my way to Phoenix College to complete a couple of associate's degrees. I started straight out of high school. My options were very much so like another first-generation student. You either go to school, go to work. I chose school, and I feel a better sense of belonging in college than I did in my high school, middle school, elementary school years, which was very surprising. And it took me from my associate's degrees all the way through my bachelor's. I graduated from NAU, and even within NAU and going to school online for the pandemic, I still was able to find a sense of belonging because of programs like the ones like HSI Excellence and other mentoring programs that we had at EMCC at least. Because of those programs, I was able to keep that motivation and then, like I said, find my sense of belonging. But there was a lot of teaching that I had to do for not only myself, but my parents. So being that first person in my household to go to college and see it through was a challenge in and of itself, and then setting the way for anyone younger than me wanting to go to college afterwards within my family. It was kind of nerve-wracking, but I'm glad that I did it. That way they have someone to go to, not just through the program itself, but at home and other places. Yeah.
I think we wear that t-shirt very well. Being the first in our family to graduate from college, I think automatically that includes a responsibility to future and younger generations to provide that sense of direction, that coaching, and that guidance. And it's the same for me, Alejandra, is I have, if it's not my children's friends and their parents, it's my family and their children and my cousins and their children. You know, I have become essentially that source of opportunity as it relates to education. But beyond that, I think those are some of the benefits that any of our students, you know, can have that experience too. It's very enlightening, and it's very rewarding to be seen as that member of your family that figured it out and started something that maybe perhaps wasn't in the cards just so many years ago.
Yes, a trailblazer. Okay, Alyssa, can you tell us what are some of the benefits about being an HSI Excellence member?
Absolutely. So from the moment that you're accepted to the program, what you'll receive is outreach from our team, really welcoming you, congratulating you on your decision to embark on this journey, and then opening up a wealth of resources that we have kind of curated through our own experience, different opportunities at every campus to be more involved, different opportunities to receive assistance with paying for things like groceries, utility bills, hygiene items, even clothing. That is just one part of the services that we provide. Beyond that, our team is very, very engaged and involved in current research projects, current opportunities for students involving internships. Just recently, I traveled to the USDA in Washington, D.C. to learn about internships for community college students, specifically pursuing a career in agriculture. And so by us going out and discovering those opportunities and bringing them back into our program, we are expanding what you might not see as something that you could accomplish, but we're making it a reality by walking the walk, you know, going and finding out more and bringing that info back to you. So that's just one example. Also, what you'll find with our program is a deep-rooted sense of respect for culture and heritage, and really celebrating not just our differences, but things that we find in common with our first-generation college students, with our Hispanic student population, and other ethnicities as well. So for those reasons, I love the HSI Excellence program. I think that if I were to look back in 20 years, I would be really proud of this work, and hopefully I would be connecting with students that we have had an impact with and seeing what great things they're doing today. Alejandra, you are, as a success coach in the program, you're responsible for career exploration and experiential learning. Can you tell me a little bit more about opportunities or resources that you promote as a coach for HSI Excellence?
Yeah, so one of the big things that I really like to promote among students is being a federal work study student, getting yourself on campus and starting your career and your job history within the campus, or while you're, how do I explain it? while you're going through school. You're already on campus, you might as well work there, right? You're already going to be around your classes, you're already going to be around your community. It's all kind of, how would you explain?
Like creating a network of support
Yeah,
at your campus.
exactly.
And get paid.
Yes, exactly. You're already there, you might as well get paid. That's
Yeah.
the one thing that I do like to encourage students, especially students coming straight out of high school and might not have that work experience. It's a great place to build your skills. Apart from that, though, I do have a lot of students that are looking for careers or jobs in the fields that they are interested in, that they're studying in. So I like to use Pipeline AZ as one of the opportunities for students to search for jobs within their fields, getting them connected to internship opportunities. Your campus does have a career services department that connects you to opportunities within your field. So it's making sure that you also know that resource on campus, and getting you connected to a person that will get you into those positions and prep you for them. So that's another thing that I like to do, but also helping the students with their resume building, their cover letter building. It could be something very intimidating and daunting to do, but having someone do it with you is really, really great to get you started. So that's another thing that I like to do with students. And yeah, just kind of helping them even figure out what a next step is for them within their employment history and within their field of interest. It's when you're working just to get paid and going to school, you kind of lose the connection in the two, and it's hard to bridge that. So helping students get, their mind ready for finding, getting started within their field, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But I do that one-on-one with them. I've had a lot of conversations with students where they're like, I don't know what to do next. I'm like, it's okay. Let's sit down and step by step.
Out.
Yeah. So it's a lot of, getting them connected to the actual resources, but also talking them through it, because sometimes it's just a conversation that needs to be had. And then their mind starts going and they're like, oh, wait. And they start connecting dots. So, yeah.
That's outstanding. I've seen resumes that you've helped students with, and they're beautiful. Thank you. So other than my role as a coordinator in the program, I definitely feel as though I fill a coaching capacity a lot with the coaching staff, but also I have noticed that there's a strong connection for me with my parent students. So parents who are attempting college, either to change careers or to start a new career. And they must sense it from me, or maybe I don't know how they find me, but they recognize that in me, and I feel really good about coaching adult students, especially student parents. Probably one of the most unique challenges that I observe in the community colleges is the demand for a parent's time. For obvious reasons, your children always have to come first, and school isn't necessarily an environment that encourages that type of arrangement. For a traditional student, you go to college full time, maybe you work, but mostly you go to college. And parents don't have that liberty. So what that means is that time management becomes of the utmost importance. And it's not just about managing your day-to-day, but a parent has to forecast months and semesters and years at a time. So you have to plan not just one semester, you have to plan for the entire year. Sometimes that means changing your child's school. Sometimes that means finding a different daycare provider. And then, of course, managing how am I going to pay for this. So we offer a lot of support and coaching and strategies in those areas for single parents, students with children, to help you breathe, right? And look at it from a perspective of if not now, when? And so making those decisions and working with someone who has experience in navigating those challenges, I think is very beneficial. And plus the relationship that we get to have together is awesome. So if you're a parent and you're wondering if this program would be a good fit for you, I would strongly encourage you to participate. We have coaching staff who is equipped to help you navigate those types of challenges.
Yes, you'll meet them soon.
¿Qué onda? My name is Donna Lopez Martinez. I am the director of HSI Excellence. And with me,
Hi, I'm Adriana Galindo, and I am a regional coordinator for the HSI Excellence Program.
Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about what is HSI Excellence, how it came about, and why we exist, and what we can do for you. We're going to start off with the origins first. Do you know about the origins of HSI Excellence?
I actually do. So back in 2015, I was hired as a recruiter for what used to be called the Excel program. And then in 2016, I got to meet Donna, who was our program manager at the time and still is. So what was Excel about?
Well, Excel, okay, let me take you all the way back to the story. So ASU Morrison Institute developed or wrote a study based on Arizona's population, particularly Maricopa County. And they realized that the growing population was Latino students. And we realized that there was a concern for students completing high school, students enrolling into college, and students completing college. And once we realized the severity of the educational attainment of Latino students, we realized that they needed to do something about servicing students. And so in partnership with Helios Educational Foundation and Maricopa Community Colleges years later, wanted to provide service to Hispanic students to tackle educational attainment. And so they focused on HSIs out in the West Valley. The two community colleges that were identified were Estrella Mountain Community College and Glendale Community College. And that is how they created Excel. And Excel was developed to be a student success program to ensure the retention, persistence, and completion of Latino students with the hope of transferring the students over to the university. And so that's how Excel came about. And so what happened basically was that we had a successful program. We were able to show Helios Educational Foundation that our support systems were able to support students and be successful in continuing semester to semester, academic year to academic year, and successfully transferring and earning college credit. And so they gave us money to scale out what we did with Excel to make HSI Excellence. And so today, that's why we're at 6 of the community colleges, expecting to grow out more.
Yeah. So the Excel program was stationed at Glendale Community College and EMCC. At that time, I had been a recruiter and then a peer success coach. And Donna called me one day and took a chance on me, so I'll forever be grateful. I was really young. I had just gotten my bachelor's, had just barely turned 23, and she said, you know, we're doing a hire, we need a program coordinator, who better than you? And I was really nervous. The imposter syndrome definitely kicked in, but I thought it was a great opportunity to continue servicing our students. Then the pandemic happened, and we had to navigate through the pandemic. Many of you guys were with us. We do have some Excel program alumni within the program, but it was very difficult for us to be able to still replace in-person sessions, in-person navigation that we would provide, that in-person touch that we had with our students, much like the rest of the world. And so how do we create a sense of belonging throughout the pandemic? And so we would do virtual Zoom meetings, and we would do study sessions together, and that's where the Canvas Hub ended up being created. And coming back out of the pandemic is how HSI Excellence ended up coming back. So we ended up going back to Helios Education Foundation and asking to be refunded, and this time with an emphasis, because we are an HSI district now, with an emphasis on our Hispanic students, their family members, and our community. So that is where HSI Excellence was born. I do want to tell you guys a little bit about our stories. Donna, if you can share just how did you learn about higher education? How did you end up doing this work that you do?
Well, I always like to talk about, I have a story that I always share with the students and the parents when we have family events. And I am naturally a storyteller because my family loves the stories as well. But I stand on the shoulders of the generations before me, and I honor my Tata Lupe and I honor my dad, Cuate. And Tata Lupe was forced to stop going to school at 8th grade, and that was during the Depression. And so he was a part of the Great Deal. That was a Roosevelt initiative or bill so that kids could go to work and help contribute to their families. So as young as 8th grade, he was out there making money to help his family survive. And because of that experience, education was so important to him. And not only was I first generation, but so far I've been the only college graduate. And right now I'm a doctoral student at St. Edward's University, with hopefully early spring officially completing my doctoral program in higher education and leadership. But also my dad was, he only went to his junior year in high school. He signed up for Vietnam because he came from a single household with 6 kids for my grandmother to support, and that was his way to contribute to the family. So he stopped going to high school, signed up for the military, and was shipped off to Vietnam. And when he came back, he was able to take advantage of the GI Bill at the community college in Tucson. And higher education was important, but higher education was never pushed. The priority was finish high school, get a good job, and that's it. But once I did that, I went to Pima Community College as a student, I realized I love learning. I took Chicano studies classes, and I fell in love not only with learning, but also about my culture, my history, and knowing the years of generational oppressions and the ability to have a position to help and support individuals and their families, I realized that I had a love for higher education. So after Pima Community College, I transferred over to Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, studied public relations, and from there, I just continued on with my schooling where I obtained my master's. I sought out employment in higher ed, and here I stand today. Everything, all my education and my career combined has brought me to this moment in time where I get to basically help students and their families to obtain an education, knowing that all it takes is one student and within the family to graduate, and that just sets the family on a different course of experience of life and outlook on opportunities. And so for me, it's just the love of servicing students, servicing my community, and love of education.
Yeah. For us in the development of this podcast, because before Excel was at the colleges, and we were stationed in areas where you could stop by, just like if you were talking to admissions and records or financial aid. And so it was easy to build that relationship. With HSI Excellence, because we're offered at 6 of the colleges, it's a little bit difficult to do that as we're spreading out thin. But we wanted to create this podcast to help build that sense of belonging. There's going to be some upcoming sections of consejos from my coaches, which you guys will be able to meet all the different coaches on time management, to talk about how they were successful and getting involved within their college. They're all Maricopa Community College alumni members, and so they have a lot of best practices. Most of them have already earned their bachelor's program or their bachelor's as well. We have another section of Vamonos, with Donna's going to be sharing just different data about HSIs or about why voting is important or what happened this day in history and First Gen Day. And then the other one is going to be Con Todo de Todo en Español. And so this one, we hope to build community not only for our students, but then also for their family members that maybe would prefer to have their communication in Spanish. So Donna and I always say, like, yes, this is kind of like ABC, but like we needed Telemundo, and so we wanted to make something that was from us directly to you that would help you. So we not only have those upcoming tips and those that storytelling component, but then also we want to do stuff that's fun. So recipes, or to do different activities, or to play loteria, whatever builds that sense of community. And you guys know you can communicate with us on the Canvas page at any time. So if you have any recommendations, please send them our way. I always say I came to community college by accident, but it was the best accident. I was scheduled to go to a university at that time, and I remember my dad was like, why don't we just go take a tour of Estrella? This was a long time ago, so I remember thinking like, no, community college, like nobody went to community college at that time. It wasn't as it wasn't as cool at that time. And I took the tour only so that I could get my dad off my back and I could go to the university that I wanted. But when I went there, they had just built the Estrella Hall. It was beautiful. It was definitely nothing that I thought a community college would be like. I got the presidential scholarship and I ended up staying there. I got a work study, which Alejandra talks about, on campus, so I was getting paid in between my classes, and it was a really great experience. But I just didn't know enough. I didn't know that there was other industries outside of the STEM, business, or things that that I could do. And so I ended up going to NAU to finish my bachelor's in business administration, and I just finished my master's of science in leadership from GCU with 3 under 2. So anything is possible. And so that's just a little bit of an overview about what the Excel program was, how HSI ended up coming to be, and how we hope to come into your homes every day, and not only for you, but for your families, to encourage you to take part in the program, to come to our family advocacy events. In the fall, we do have financial literacy curriculum to help you begin your small business. So definitely take advantage of those great opportunities and come to, our upcoming events. We exist to serve you, the student. And so at any time, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. But this is going to be another mechanism for us that we can connect with you, and we're really excited about that. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're excited to be here and to be able to serve you and to ensure that you persist and complete.
Thank you.